Welcome to Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barito. Let's take a look at the headlines. Government increases funding for the greatest show on earth. The Minister of Transport makes a plea for the reduction of the number of accidents in the country, and an increase in the OJT stipend and the establishment of a National Red Cross program in secondary schools. Thank you for joining us. Carnival 2013 will be better marketed and become more attractive as the government has increased funding for the festival. Now, with about 24 days to go before the main events, Carnival Monday and Tuesday, the government has announced plans and changes to the internationally recognized show.
The government of Trinidad and Tobago, in recognizing the potential of our internationally renowned carnival, has increased funding to the tune of $27 million, which will assist the National Carnival Commission in its management of the national festival. Minister of Arts and Multiculturalism, the Honourable Lincoln Douglas, speaking at the post-Cabinet news briefing on Thursday, revealed that the Cabinet met and approved the additional funding for the support and improvement of Carnival. One of the new features to Carnival 2013 is a change in the Dimash, which will now become a display rather than a competition.
For Carnival 2013, the competition elements of Dimash have been removed. In place will be a production, a show production that will captivate audience and display the creativity and theatre. It will trace the history of Carnival and showcase elements of Carnival which people might not have seen or they will not be privy to. So we have asked the designers to give us a great show, and we're looking forward to that. This show is estimated to cost $2.5 million.
There is also news for an improved Carnival Village for 2013.
The Carnival Village we have worked at redesigning and redeveloping. It will be 2 weeks prior to Carnival, and the village is designed to one place that would house all the elements of Carnival and all the developmental aspects, so people can trace the history of Carnival and all its developmental aspects and can participate in that. That would be housed at the Savannah.
The Honourable Minister spoke of an increase in funding for Calypso and support for the Trinbago Unified Calypsonians Organization.
The Calypso Monarch final event, as you know, the Calypso Monarch has been taken out of that whole milieu of activity, and so we have allocated additional funding also for the National Calypso Monarch event. Prize money to Calypsonians also, there would be an increase in the prize money to Calypsonians. The Tuco Calypso tents, we continue to do the support of Calypso, the traditional and developing Calypso tents, and so we will continue to support a number of the upcoming and newer and the roving Calypso tents throughout Trinidad and Tobago.
Funding for the King and Queen of Carnival competition will also be increased, and Minister Douglas says the competition will now take place on a new date.
We have a single event called Big Friday, which is Friday, February the 8th, in an attempt to regenerate renewed interest in ambitious portrayals among designers, band leaders, and masqueraders. This is an attempt to rekindle in our local and foreign patrons a kind of excitement about a live show and also about a quality of production that can be broadcasted.
The final revelation was that of an increased focus on regional carnivals.
We continue to support the carnival in a lot of the various areas. We can't do every area every year, but we will continue to rotate. We started with Brazil this year, Brazil Village, which is south of Arima, and this year you will see other regional carnivals support in some of the corporations, Aruca, Siparia, Central, and Deep South.
The minister expects that Carnival 2013 will be bigger and better than years prior, and he says the number of persons expected to come to Trinidad and Tobago is already a promising sign of things to come. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Transport is engaging party promoters and band leaders in their road safety awareness campaign. Minister of Transport, the Honorable Chandra Sharma, says something must be done to reduce the number of accidents in this country, with one accident occurring every 16 to 17 minutes.
We've asked the band leaders in particular for the Carnival Fets. We want to be helpful. We have been working closely with the Maxi Taxi Association and Public Transport Service. We want to carry to the Fets and bring you back. We are going to offer park and ride as much as possible. We want to make sure the sober zone exists. We want to make sure when there's one for the road, there's a bottle of water, or a cup of coffee, or a Lucozade. We want our people to want fit and party, but we want to secure them. We want no accidents this year. We see too often. And
the government is committed to playing its part in reducing the amount of road collisions. The commitment comes from Transport Minister Chandresh Sharma. This commitment forms part of a United Nations initiative called Global Decade of Action on Road Safety. The initiative seeks to reduce the amount of vehicle collisions internationally between 2011 and the year 2020. Minister Sharma says this country has seen too many accidents in recent years, some 173,000 in the past 5 years alone. He believes the statistics speak for themselves and something needs to be done.
35,000 accidents per year, a dollar value of close to $1 billion. The loss of life has been close to 1,000 in the last 5 years. Among them, last year, 2012, we have it with us, but I think it was 189. But 2011 was 181, 171 adults, 10 children. 2010, 206, 197 adults, 9 children. 2009, 222, 208 adults, 14 children.
The Transport Ministry plans to go to Fets and establish a sober zone. At the zone, persons will be given a non-alcoholic drink. While the drink may not make patrons sober, it is hoped it will serve as a reminder to individuals that they need to be sober before they drive. Minister Sharma says while the ministry will do what it can, citizens must also avoid contributing to the carnage on the nation's roads. He's calling on citizens to be more thoughtful when they know their loved ones are driving.
If your child leaves San Fernando or Faizabad and should take 50 minutes, don't call them before 50 minutes. Give them time to reach in their apartment, settle down, and then call them. And you can't text your child and ask him, or your brother, or your boyfriend, or your girlfriend. You can't text them to ask them how they're doing while they're driving.
Gregory McBurney, News 4.
When we come back, the Minister of Education urges students to expand their field of vision. Stay with us. Welcome back. An increase in the OJT stipend, the development of a jobs report to display labor trends, and the establishment of a National Red Cross program in secondary schools. These are some of the initiatives proposed by Minister of Tertiary Education and Skills Training, Senator the Honorable Fazal Karim.
Minister Karim is calling on young persons who are now attempting to enter the workforce to take advantage of the on-the-job training program. Senator Karim says the program will provide young persons who are trying to become employable with the requisite experience needed. He made the call while speaking at a career fair at the Center of Excellence. He says now is a good time to sign up, as he is also seeking to increase the stipend currently given to participants in the program.
Every student who would have completed CSEC examination, every student who would have completed the advanced levels, every student who in either year 1, year 2, or final year of a university program, you are entitled to join the on-the-job training program. The OJT program will present you not only with an opportunity to get work experience, it will give you a stipend. If you have your O-levels, you will get $2,000 a month. If you have your A-levels, you'll get $3,000 a month. If you have your degree, you'll have $5,000 a month. If you have your master's, you'll get $6,000 a month. And I intend to go to Cabinet in the near future, supported by my colleague, to increase the stipends for the on-the-job trainees.
Minister Karim also says young persons need to have some sort of guidance when choosing a career. He explains this is one of the reasons that he will be seeking to develop a jobs report which will show labor trends. The report will be done by the soon-to-be-established Center for Workforce Research and Development, which is a collaborative effort between the Ministry of Tertiary Education and Skills Training and the Ministry of Labour, Small and Micro Enterprise Development.
For the first time in the history of Trinidad and Tobago, we are establishing what is called a CWRD, a Center for Workforce Research and Development. That center is going to be located and it's going to be opened within a month's time on the University of the West Indies St. Augustine campus. Why is that center important? It is important because it is going to give you all your labor market trends.
The Tertiary Education Minister laments the lack of availability of persons to fill the vacancies in the medical sector. He says it is for this, among other reasons, he is calling on the National Red Cross program to be implemented in secondary schools throughout Trinidad and Tobago.
Just as we have cadets in school, just as we have Girl Guides, just as we have scouts, Minister Gopi Singh, I want to ask you to allow us to join with you in starting and commencing a National Red Cross program in every secondary school in Trinidad and Tobago. That is going to serve not only the future labor market demands of the health sector, it will ensure that the students who are in the school can provide services to those colleagues or even seniors should they so require them.
Gregory McBurney, News 4.
And Education Minister Dr. The Honorable Tim Gopi Singh is urging secondary school students to expand their field of vision when choosing a profession. He believes students should explore all their options as the University of the West Indies offers a wide range of studies, many of which are not taken advantage of.
Minister Gopi Singh says students have become attuned to choosing conventional professions such as medicine, law and engineering. However, he is reminding them that there are many other alternative professions which are lucrative and respectable. He says children should explore all their options when deciding their future academic path.
University of the West Indies has 5 faculties: humanities, medicine, agriculture, and so on. And in each one of those faculties, there are at least 10 professions that you can be trained for, just at the University of the West Indies. So in University of the West Indies alone, you could be trained for 50, you have the option to be trained for about 50 different professions. Just one institution.
Minister Gopi Singh laments the shortage of qualified persons in the technical and vocational arena. He explains this is why students should take advantage of the 7 district career fairs being put on by the ministry. The fairs will run from January to March. Career coach buses will also visit education districts and provide a mobile medium to help students, graduates and new entrants into the world of work. Persons requiring more information on the career coach buses can visit www.jobsandcareercoachtt.com. Gregory McBurney, News 4.
When we come back, Trinidad and Tobago storms into the finals of the Caribbean T20 Championship. Stay with us. Trinidad and Tobago stormed into the final of the Caribbean T20 Championship with a comprehensive win over Barbados at the Beausejour Stadium in St. Lucia. It was the 5th straight win for the Red Force, and once again it was some stifling bowling which did the trick. Wayne Cunningham has the highlights from the encounter.
Barbados was the big noise leading up to the Caribbean T20 Championship, but the voices were silenced after being defeated by Guyana and CCC in back-to-back encounters. On Wednesday, they had a chance to redeem themselves when they met table toppers Trinidad and Tobago. They were off to a terrible start after winning in the toss and electing to take first knock. With only 8 balls bowled, Carlos Braffett was caught by Dinesh Ramlin off the bowling of Samuel Badri. Justin Braffett and Shane Dowich went about some repair work, but it was slow and tedious going as they put on a 39-run partnership which took some 46 balls. That partnership was broken when on 22, Braffett was neatly run out by an alert Dwayne Bravo. Dowrich joined him in the dugout 13 balls later, caught by Darren Bravo of Sonny Lorraine for 21. Bajan captain Dwayne Smith had the task of rebuilding his team's innings, but he did not last long as the pressure mounted with some fine TNT bowling. With a score on 59, he was the fourth man to go for just 7 to his name. Riyad Emrit was the bowler on that occasion, and he also accounted for Kyle Mayers, who was caught by Ramlin for 4 to have Barbados reeling at 5 for 64 in the 15th over. Only Ashley Nurse offered any real resistance after that, ending not out on 24, as Barbados could only manage 101 for 6 in their 20 overs with some help from some wayward work in the field. After carefully watching the first over bowled by Fidel Edwards, Trinidad and Tobago openers Lindell Simmons and Evan Lewis went on the attack. They were brutal on Suleiman Ben in the second over, which cost 17 runs. When Edwards returned, he got the same treatment, with Simmons first hitting the ropes and then going over to amass 10 runs in 2 balls. Lewis was not going to be left out of the action, as he brought the crowd and the dugout to their feet with this 4. The pair racing to a 45-run partnership for the first wicket. Carlos Braffett made the breakthrough when he had Simmons caught by Mayers at third man for 36 off just 23 balls. Darren Bravo came to the wicket and also entertained, but was undone by the combination of Smith and Tino Bess. The Bajans then resorted to some dubious legal tactics. Dwayne Bravo, third man to go, run out by Smith for 3 in unfamiliar fashion. That clever use of the law could not save Smith and his men, as the Red Force went about easily amassing the total. Along with Lewis's 24, a Kyron Pollard cameo of 15 with 3 boundaries was just the icing on the cake, as TNT won by 5 wickets with 4 overs and 5 balls to spare. Now it's on to the grand final on Sunday in Crossley. Wayne Cunningham, News 4 Sports.
When we come back, the countdown to Carnival 2013. Stay with us. Panmen in Trinidad and Tobago have received much-needed assistance from the government in the lead-up to Carnival 2013. This is expected to offset many of the expenses that several unsponsored pan groups are unable to treat with.
Over the years, there has been a proliferation of unsponsored steel bands, which, according to Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Arts and Multiculturalism, Mrs. Deja Bascom, can be interpreted in 2 ways. 1, this is evidence that the art form is growing and developing, or 2, there is an increased need for corporate social responsibility. On Tuesday, $2.7 million was handed over to the Panmen to assist in their preparations for Carnival 2013, specifically for the Panorama competition. The check was presented by the Ministry of Arts and Multiculturalism and is expected to benefit 171 pan groups. The figure is an increase of $100,000 from 2012 and is being distributed to the unsponsored bands in 4 regions: East, North, South, Central, and Tobago. In 2014, Pan Trinbago will be host to the first international Panorama competition, which will see steel bands from among 58 countries around the world converge in this country. Meanwhile, speaking at the handing-over ceremony at the National Academy for the Performing Arts Port of Spain, Pan Trinbago President Keith Diaz explains that PAN is helping to curb crime in Trinidad and Tobago.
Today, I am thankful on behalf of the executive and the regional executive for what consideration you have given onto the PAN movement, for helping those unsponsored bands in far-reaching areas of our country, for lifting their hopes because they have to deal with so many young people. I would like to thank all the steel band arrangers, tuners, and managers for helping out our country. Look at the crime situation that is happening in our country, and you steel band men and women are helping our young people. I lost my stepson and with crime. So I know. So I would hope that every single steel band man and woman in here help our young people in our community.
The grand finals of the Panorama competition 2013 will take place on Saturday, February 9th at the Queen's Park Savannah. Mr. Diaz revealed that registration for Panorama 2014 will take place 1 year in advance of the competition to better attain funding from the government.
The registration members of Panorama will take place by March 15th. We used to register by 30th of June. 15th of March 2013. 1 year in advance. Carnival is the 2nd and 3rd of March 2014. Anybody who wants to come Panorama, you have to register by the 15th of March. I've seen it over and over and over and over, because when the minister have to present to the finance department, he wants to be sure what he is going to support the PAN movement when he goes into cabinet. So we want to make sure, and that's why every parliament today, we rallying behind the Minister of the Arts and Multicultural. Say a little praise for him, a round of applause for him. Since he came on board, he have done a lot for the PAN movement.
Minister of Arts and Multiculturalism, the Honourable Lincoln Douglas, spoke of the commitment that has been given to the PAN fraternity.
The Ministry of Arts and Multiculturalism, we committed to PAN playing its part in reaching out to young people and to providing alternative ways to support those young people that participate in the PAN. We're committed not only to playing PAN, but also to the music that forms the base of PAN playing, that those who play will have an understanding of the greater world of music that is out there. We're committed to training and development, and we're committed to the business of PAN, that those who play must make some money to live.
The Honourable Minister reconfirmed his ministry's and the government's support for the PAN movement and ensured steps will be taken to strengthen the cultural sector so that not only would PAN enthusiasts benefit from the creative industry, but also all artists and cultural workers. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
Marshall Montano and Drupati caused a stir at one fete at the Jean Pierre complex in Port of Spain. The duo, who teamed up for their 2013 hit Indian Gyal, had the crowd lapping up every moment of their performance.
Fetters were out in full force from as early as 7 p.m. A large turnout of partygoers were at the venue, taking advantage of the food fair, which consisted of Chinese, Indian, Jamaican, Creole, and even Arabian food.
What brought you out to Trinidad Carnival? So we just want to have fun. Is this your first time in Trinidad? Yeah, first time. How did you all know about Trinidad Carnival? Who told you all about it? Because it's world famous and it's fun. Amazing, amazing. So much fun.
One thing is one thing I like to do to make sure I see Cass, Marshall, and really vibe for Carnival.
Marshall Montano demonstrated for another year he was a force to be reckoned with. The 2012 Road March and Soca Monarch King performed with a synergy that had patrons lapping up every moment of his stage antics.
We have been a time this year. Every line we there. Come rain or shine. Look one with me everywhere.
Montano took time to make it clear that he will be taking both the Soca Monarch and Groovy Soca Monarch titles, to which some of the crowd shouted no, while others started to chant Super Blue, Super Blue. Montano performed every hit he had for about an hour and even threw in some of his rum songs, for good measure. Earlier, Kess the band also did some damage. Kess himself was in a rare form. For close to an hour and a half, Kess unleashed a repertoire of his 2013 favorites, starting with Your Body Walkin', in which he instructed patrons to check their body parts. He also delved into past favorites like What Less, which never failed. There were various highlights of Kess's performance. A female fan had an opportunity to share the spotlight on stage. Kess proceeded to gyrate on the couch with his female fan, much to the delight of patrons. Kess apologized to his fans for not being in the Soca Monarch. While he said he will be competing in the groovy segment, his main focus, he said, is on taking his music to the world. Montano ended the session at around 2 a.m.
Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 Report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barito. Thank you for joining us.